And we're here.
All
How are
right.
you, sir?
I'm good, my buddy. A little under the weather.
Yeah, you sound like crap.
It's just allergies.
Oh, yeah. You're allergic to freestyle, or is this just regular?
I am getting allergic to freestyle.
Yeah. You wanted me to come on social media and have a discussion with you. Just so you know, I was invited by Gino to take part in this. I did some research. He doesn't know anything about what I'm going to present to him or the questions that I have. I know he wanted to tackle some things and discuss some things, so that's a good thing. I'm willing to have a discussion, but I'm a person that likes to discuss facts and go in a fact finding mission. You can call this a CPR's Clubhouse Live. Typically, I don't do live shows anymore because I like to edit content because I like the content to be approved by the person that I am interviewing. But you wanted this to be live, so that's the reason why we are here live. And I hope that it's a positive conversation. There will be some heated, probably back and forth. Hopefully not, but it typically ends up that way in any conversation because I have a lot of questions myself,
Yep.
and I want to make sure that the audience that's watching can also get those questions answered. Um, so I know that we're supposed to start at 7 o'clock, so we'll wait a few more minutes so we can give people the opportunity to get in here. But we're here with Gino Caporale of 418. Gino is a mainstay, or has become a mainstay in our genre, for good or worse, right? You've had a lot of success. You've been able to put together a great roster of releases, always solid vocalists, solid production. Um, Not all of them have been home runs, but you've had a 90% at least of great music being put out. Um, Tell us a little bit about you, Gino Caporale, because there will be a person for the first time joining us here on the show. Give us a little background on yourself and 418.
As far as freestyle, I played freestyle since 1986. I was a DJ on Q102, 4-hour mix show. I played a lot of freestyle, a lot of house. Was always a big freestyle fan. The genre that I love. Again, excuse me for my throat. DJ'd for 35 years. Got out of the freestyle business. Opened up my dance label. Did very well. And then 5 years ago, opened up 418 Freestyle. And we've had some of the biggest records of the last 5 years. I'm not in it for the money because there's really not a lot of money. I'm in it for the love of the genre. I'm in it for the music. And that's basically it. I mean, we get.
No, I wanted to ask you, do you think that when people say they're not in it for the money or the genre, that's kind of an oversaturated statement? What makes you different when you use that statement?
Well, I can actually show you. I can actually show you some royalties. But listen, we all want to make money. Don't get me wrong, but you have to remember that it's a different age now with music. It's not what it was years ago as far as vinyl and selling and CDs. This is more about MP3s and streams, and there's just not a lot going around. We actually do pretty well, but we do pretty well, because we release a lot of quality and we have a lot of quantity, which helps us collect more. But individually, are we making a killing? No. This is something we love. I want to see this go a little further. I want to help the genre. And I sort of take a back seat when it comes to money. We're surviving, but are we killing it money-wise? No. That would be more the dance label than the freestyle label. But I just love the music.
Are you the same Gino Caporale that's in that 12-inch record that says Viper 7, Gino Caporale, Destiny? Are you actually singing on that record?
No, I'm not. That is Adam, but I produced it top to bottom.
So when we talk about Adam, we're talking about Adam Morano. the voice behind Collage, and then multiple other entities in the genre of freestyle.
Right.
The guy knew how to make money when it comes to this genre. He
Yep.
created so many different entities, and we're here to discuss some of that here on the show
Okay.
because that's, I think, partially the reason why you're here.
Yes.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth. Why are you actually here? What are some of the things that you would like to discuss tonight?
I want to discuss 3 certain songs that came out in the early 90s. I want to discuss some songs that we've redone. And just the genre in a whole. And I'm not looking to, I'm going to be very respectful. I'm going to be very classy. I'm not looking to shed blood like someone put on my post.
Yeah, so you're not gonna be raw, uncensored,
No, I'm going to be raw.
uncooked.
I'm going to be
No.
raw, uncensored, uncooked. Somebody asked if I was going to be naked too. I said no, we don't want that. But I want the truth. I want to say the truth. Then I want to move on from all the bullshit, all the he
Yeah.
said, she said stuff.
Yeah,
Because
full
it's,
disclosure, I got
of
that title from old professional wrestling
course,
episode of Monday Night Raw. So I just thought it would be funny, because you wanted me to put together a flyer, and I'm like, what do I do with these flyers? You're smiling, you got an award. Let me ask you, how fake are those Billboard awards?
they're very fake. Everything I do is fake.
Yeah.
I have
You
them.
purchased them and you just put them on the wall?
Yeah, I purchased them. I put them on the wall. I have 2 more. I purchased another 50 that were top 10. I purchased everything.
Yeah, so I'm being facetious here, but you do have Billboard songs from your dance label that
Yeah.
have actually reached a peak levels, and also you have been featured and deemed the #1 dance label, independent dance label, thanks to some connections with dance artists, which
Yes.
were some of the dance artists that we listened to when we were younger.
Well, Crystal Waters was the main person. I met her in Miami through Stonebridge, and just had a great relationship. She graced me and gave me the honor of putting a song out, and I've never had a #1. And I just watched the song go from an unknown song to #1 in 9 weeks on Billboard, and it really gave me the break that I needed, and I owe her a lot for that. So
I'm kind of sad that I can't make you yell tonight for some reason. I don't know why.
no, you
I
will.
was looking forward to it.
You
So
will.
big shout outs go out to Crystal Waters. I'm a big fan. And so we wanted to give a synopsis. One thing that you did that I always give you credit for, and I go back to Glenn Gutierrez, and I always talk about these things. Like Glenn Gutierrez at one time was telling people on social media that putting their songs on iTunes and not CDs was the next generation of music. And they not only did they scoff at it, but they laughed at him. And then he went all the way to cash checks in the bank for Classified and Planet Hype. And then we waited an extra, I don't know, 5 years before we started putting freestyle in the digital platforms. Now, the same thing can be said when it comes to you and 418 Freestyle. You were very generous on your trip here to Freestyle Land, where you invited people into finding out how you can stream and how you can earn streams and how you can earn money by streaming. And then it kind of, when you show people tips, it kind of backfired on you in many different ways, where then you were labeled something that you say that you're not, and that is a person that pays for streams,
Yeah.
so it can appear as the numbers are beefed up.
Yep. What are you going to do?
I like the example.
Well, we always talk about. You used to be able to go online, and it would say for $50 you can get 20,000 streams, but you're going to make $20. So I've never been the guy that puts money out to make less money. It makes no sense. #1, it hurts the artist. #2, it makes the label look bad. And #3, my distribution, I was never able to do that because I have Universal, and they partnered with Spotify to look for these fake streams. So you would get strikes against you. So this is something that we want to do. run the freestyle label, like the dance label. And streaming is very big in the dance community and EDM community. So it was important to put that towards freestyle. Now, not every record streamed well. Jenny Renee did, TKA did, Carlos Barrios, Sin. These are records that people already knew the names, so they were starting to do it as we were teaching them. But there was a few people who put a negative spin on it, but then again, they couldn't do it. So we're not doing it right. We're doing everything wrong, but you can't do what we're doing. So at the end of the day, it makes no sense.
Well, we bastardize everything in this genre, and if we can't control it or we don't understand it, we try to destroy it, and that's unfortunate. And not only did it happen with the iTunes, now they do it with the charts, now they do it with the streaming, they do it with the countdowns, and now they're doing it with the remakes, and songs that are being released. So we had a discussion previously about remakes. The episode's not out yet. It features Denine and Emery and Gennaro. Of course, Emery sings Tear Shed, and she's always sang the original version. And then Denine did a remake in 1993. And so what I said in that episode that will be released next week is that each case has to be treated on an individual basis. Like everybody wants to put the remakes game into one big ball, and they want to just attack everyone when it comes to that. So I just want to make sure that people understand that we're going to be discussing this on an individual basis when we talk about remakes. All right.
Yep.
So first thing is first, you were there at the concept of the Philadelphia experiment. You got the hat for it, right? You're Philly born. So
Yep.
Who was the Philadelphia experiment? Who was TPE?
Well, in 1991, I was DJing at one of the biggest clubs in Philly. I had a phone call up to the DJ booth. There's a gentleman here named Adam. He wants to meet you, and he has a 3-piece suit on. True story. I said, well, I don't know who he is, but let him up. Let him up. It was Adam Morano. Came in, told me he was listening to me on Q102, knew who I was, and he gave me a cassette, said, Then Came You. He wanted me to play it that night, but I couldn't because the club was jam-packed, and the song was not Then Came You. It was Then Came You, but not what we. So the next day I went home and I played it, and there was no structure. There was no hook. There was him singing, which was very good. But actually called him a few days later and got together with him and said, let me teach you how to structure a song. And I still use that to today. I make sure there's a beginning, there's a middle break, there's the end break, because that's how we did it back in the day. I met up with Adam. We started to restructure the song a little bit. Adam was very good at programming, but wasn't a great producer yet, but learned quick and super talented. I said, we need a girl on it. I ended up, my cousin was dating Denine's cousin. They started talking. We met Denine. Denine came to the studio, and she sang those 3 words that were, so big of a
synonymous with Micmac Records and the TPE and all that good stuff. Yes, Then Came You.
All the scratching was me live. I got Joe from Moray, Tone DeJean, he got Colorblind. And we came up with this song, and it was really Adam, Denine, and I. I was the original producer. We didn't have a name for it. Adam said Philadelphia Experiment, TPE. So that was early 91. It came out the middle of 91 on Goix Records. We had a guy back it. So it was on Goix Records. I got it right on the radio because I had the mix show. I got an ad on Q102, and the record started to blow up. Adam then took it and got signed to Micmac. A few things changed. We were both producers then, but that was not a problem. But I get a little aggravated because people don't know the truth. Like that was me. It was definitely Adam. Adam was the programmer, and it was also Polygon. you know, and so it was three of us and Denine, but TPE was Adam, Denine, and Gino Caporale. Um, that was such a big record, and it was our first record. And we were like, wow, music business is easy, because he put it out. It was
Right.
100% on cue with a screw and on cue and a two. I was playing it 2 times on a 4-hour mix show. Then we got the ad. So Rob Federici was the other person involved. So that's the story on Then Came You. It's very black and white.
Okay. So let me ask a question now.
Yeah.
So we're going to be speaking of someone that is mysteriously missing from the conversation. And that's going to be Adam Morano. But
Yeah.
Adam no longer performs. He doesn't do these shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So does the ownership of performing Then Came You, do you feel that now is on you and Denine?
Well, I feel like the person who owns the publishing is the owner of the master, which is Adam. But to me, it's my song, and it's Denine's song, and it's Adam's song, which is great. Now, there is a male dominant singer in the song. So Denine is not the only person on the song. But for all, purposes, it's our song. I was there. I structured it. I made it with Adam and Rob Federici, and we toured the country with it. It is, I feel like it's my record.
So performance-wise, the only artist that should be on stage performing that record should be Adam Morano, who doesn't perform anymore, and Denine.
Well, in a perfect world, yes, but Adam's not around.
Right. So when Denine goes up and does her part and her snippet, you feel that that's the appropriate way to go about it?
I feel a couple different ways about it. I feel that we disappeared for a long time with Adam. I feel Sal from Fever was very smart. He had Rockell. He had Joe. And he put together the Rockell and Joe show, which they were doing Then Came You. I totally get that. I'm not mad at that. What can I do? I wasn't, I was working at the airport. I wasn't doing music. So I don't begrudge anybody for doing it. I just feel that with us back, we should be able to do that song. And we will continue to do the song on every show. We will cut a female version. We will put it out. And we will do it at every show. Now, I love Joe. I'm going to say it right now. Never had a problem with Joe. He's a great guy. It's not his fault. It's not Sal's fault. It's not Rachel's fault. That was the appropriate thing to do at the time. And they did it well. But it's like us now. We did Last Chance. Well, now we're starting to see Saray back out. So we won't do Last Chance anymore. Great record. Did well. But we're not going to do it in shows anymore. Tear Shed, we're not going to do it in shows anymore because Emery's back and doing it. Now, there will be cities that when we go, are going to want us to do Tear Shed. But we don't have to do it. We have so many other good records.
But let me just interrupt for a moment and just back up a little bit, right? Because we're talking about Then Came You still. I haven't moved forward from that.
I'm sorry.
As I stated before, we're going to be discussing songs on an individual basis. You mentioned two other songs. You mentioned Tear Shed, and you also mentioned Saray's Last Chance. So when it comes to remakes, in my opinion, remakes of popular music that's not freestyle, that's great. I love that. Saray Last Chance is not a freestyle song, period. So when there was a freestyle remake of that made, it gave a new life. And actually, in my opinion, I prefer the Denine version, not because she's a friend, but because just listen to both different versions, right? No disrespect to Saray. When it comes to MKG's Emery version of Tear Shed, back in 1993, it was a different time. And there were remakes galore back then, but there was also not the internet. There was also not people performing. Emery stated in the show that we recorded, comes out next Tuesday, that she walked away from the genre. So there was an opportunity to remake a song that was not being performed. So
Right.
so the narrative here is 1993, very different. There were many people putting on the hats of other artists that they were not, right? There was a video recently of the group Pain, and the song is being performed by two Hammeneggers that nobody's ever met before. They don't even know the words of the songs, but they were getting screams and they were getting chants, and they weren't even part of the record in real life. And
Right.
that happened a lot back then because there was no place to check, and there was no face to the record. But going back to Then Came You, I understand that because it was you, Adam, and Denine, why it would be important for her to at least sing the hook at these shows, right?
Mm.
I understand that part. Now, if we move forward now to discussing Collage, right? And we discuss Adam. Now, Collage is an iteration. It's a title that Adam Morano gave himself, a group, right? There
Yep.
was also Anthony Monteleone,
Yep.
and he was the guy in the video. It wasn't Adam, and they got that crazy black and white subway video, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to "I'll Be Loving You," discuss that and your part and Denise's part in that record.
So in 1993, in one weekend, Adam and I did "I Remember You" and "I'll Be Loving You." Um, Adam was the main producer on "I'll Be Loving You." Denine was a part of the song in the studio. Rob and Adam did it. Next day, we did "I Remember You." I was producer with Adam. Um, at the time, we were coming off so much success with TPE that Collage was the next thing, and we were inseparable. I mean, we were touring the world, the country, with Collage as a part of Collage. We would go on stage, sort of like what Rockell and Joe does in the last 10 years. We were doing then. It was Denine and Collage live everywhere. We were doing 5, 6 songs together.
Yes,
Denine was on stage singing "I'll Be Loving You" with Adam. Denine, Anthony, and Adam were doing it some shows. It was Anthony and Denine on other shows. So that's a song that is very near and dear to my heart. Now, we're speaking about 3 songs, not moving forward. If any of them are the songs that I would take a step back with, it would be "I'll Be Loving You," because it was a male-dominated song. Okay? But these are songs that I was in the studio with. And
right.
back then, it wasn't like now. It was 18 hours, weekends, full weekends, sleeping on the couch.
I get it.
It's not the way it is now. So it was.
Yeah, so it's the labor of love. It's all the time that you put into it, and now all these years later, you see other people uh, showing off your baby. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it does create some feeling. It's fine. So 2 years ago, I was able to have a conversation with Joe Zangie. He came on CPR's Clubhouse Live, and I want to play a clip for you, and I want to get your reaction from that clip. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Well, I started singing Collage records back in the 90s. People really didn't know that because there was no social media to tag me in those videos. But I started singing Collage records as a favor back in the 90s for Denine and Collage. They came to me collectively together with Gino Caporale, and Denine needed somebody to sing some of those songs with her, and it was coming from the source. We want you to do this. So that's where it began. So everywhere in my career where a Collage record was brought to me or asked of me or something, I was always down for it as long as they were using my name for it.
What are your thoughts on that specific statement?
I remember doing 2 shows with Joe, one in Philly and one in upstate New York with Kool and the Gang. Got along very well with Joe. Joe did fill in, but to me, it was more in the later 90s, not early because the song came out in 93 and it was Adam, Anthony, and Denine until about 97, 98 doing the song. Now, I do remember a few shows with Joe. That was probably when Anthony dropped off. But the majority was me, Adam, and Denine, probably 98%. Could I be wrong one show? Yeah. Again, I love Joe. I don't have a problem with Joe. Never did. I actually reached out to him a few months ago to talk about a show we were on together. I remembered a little bit differently. But I do know two specific shows where he was on. And like I said, one, Adam was then signed to Micmac and was doing other shows. He was probably doing Can't We Try with Rockell and other shows. And Joe did come to a few shows with us. Like I said, off the top of my head, I remember two.
So it was a statement that he made factual on that clip.
I would say there's some facts to it. He was there a few times. We're going back a lot of years, but I don't remember much more than the two shows. I remember, Adam and us and Anthony touring a lot. Not calling Joe a liar, just saying that. I don't know. I mean, maybe a few shows.
Okay, perfect.
I know Adam liked Joe. Adam had a good relationship with Joe. Joe had some songs with us.
Right.
And again, I have no problem with that statement. I just don't think it's exactly what he said, but I have no problem with it.
Well, it's true that Adam liked Joe, and here's a clip of him discussing Adam and meeting Rockell for the first time.
Adam actually introduced me to Rockell.
Right.
And literally the week after I was done with Tasmania, Adam asked me to do a show with him, and Rockell was there, and he introduced us. And next thing I know, it was like 2 weeks later, and I was performing at her, maybe, I don't know how long it was, but not long after that, I was performing for her record release party by her request of her. And I'd only known her for literally weeks, if that. And she said, I want you to sing at my record release party. And I got a copy of the record. And when I turned it over and I looked at it, Can We Try wasn't even a single yet.
Yes.
In a Dream was ruling the radio at the time.
Absolutely.
And I said, oh, you did a duet with Adam? She said, yeah. And I said, FYI, if you ever need a fill-in, let me know. I've done it for Denine, and I'd be happy to do it for you, not knowing what that would become.
So again, he made that statement. Do you agree with the statement that he made in regards to?
That was probably around 98, so I agree with that. Because in 98, I Fell in Love came out, and then it was followed by In a Dream. Rockell was really big. So I could see that happening because Adam really was pretty much done performing when we got around 98, 99, 2000. Adam wasn't big on performing, was nervous a lot. Would get sick before some shows. So yeah, him doing that with Rachel, I can see that in 98.
Well, thank you.
That's also the year I Fell in Love and In a Dream came out. She had three that year and she was killing it.
Yeah, 1998, the Rockell album, What Are You Looking At, was released.
Yep.
She had a couple of remakes on there. She had the Dream Boy, Dream Girl remake with Collage. There's also a remake on there with her as well, with Can't We Try, which was released as a single in 1998. So on the album, the follow-up, or one of the follow-ups to In a Dream, was a duet with Can't We Try with Collage. And so this is the third part of the conversation,
right.
Which is what you wanted to discuss was Denine also completed that record with Collage as well. So there are two versions out there in our community.
Yep.
I know that the one that Rockell put out was in 1998. I can't find a record with Collage and Denine.
Right.
Can't We Try that was before 1998?
Well, and we recorded it in the end of 1994 and 1995. They serviced it the radio. It was on radio, so Philly radio. We toured doing the song. We would be doing I Remember You, I'd Be Loving You, Can't We Try, All Cried Out. That was our big show. So from 95 to like 97, we did that. I believe it was on a B-side that they sent the radio. They used to send these CD samples to radio. That's how All Cried Out hit it big. It was
Right.
Gangster Love, All Cried Out. People loved All Cried Out. So I know that was part of it. In 97, Adam came to me and Denine and said, I'm working on a Rockell album. I'd like to do Can't We Try with Rockell? At the time, we loved Rockell. I mean, our kids were born around the same time. You know, Denine and I were married. She was over the house. She was killing it with the two songs she already had. We were good. We had no problem with it because we loved Rachel. Record came out, went through the roof. That was never a problem. We understand that was the version that blew up. We just feel that we originally did the version, and we also toured with it in 94, 95. And even up until a year ago, Rockell announced on stage in Rhode Island, which I have the video, this is the originator. She did it first. It is what it is. We did it first. It doesn't matter. Now, do we do it in our shows? Yeah, we do it in our shows because we feel like it was our record too. We still go like this to her because it was all over KTU and it was a monster. Never said anything that it wasn't. And it was always okay because we got along. Now it feels like it's not okay. But that's another song we're going to be doing all the time.
Now, one more thing before we continue on, because we're going to get down to the nitty gritty now. I got one more clip from Joe Zangie's interview with me 2 years ago, and it has to do with Can't We Try? So I'm going to roll that right now.
Yep.
And she literally, maybe days later, told me Can't We Try was going to be the next single, and that she wanted me to take the tour. And that was collectively agreed on by everybody involved. It wasn't anything backdoor or slimy or anything that people would like to think about on the internet. You know, it was never any of that. None of the records that I sing are controversial in my world. I get it that they are on the internet. Like you said, I know people like to talk, and I think that drama sometimes gets more likes than honesty, but there's never been drama in my camp.
So the Can't We Try record was something that was released on the album What Are You Looking At in 1998. Adam Morano allegedly told Joe Zangie that he wanted to have him do the shows with Rockell, and also Rockell invited him to come on and do those songs. What are your thoughts on that comment?
I don't know. I wasn't around. I mean,
okay. I'll ask you directly then. The $24,000 question is, do you believe that Adam Morano gave the blessing to Joe Zangie to do the Collage songs?
I know he was doing it with Rockell because we were Radio City, and I was there when he did it with Rockell. I know he did it with Rockell for a few years. I don't know much music-wise after 2000 with Adam, and maybe not. I mean, I can see Adam saying that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I can't see Adam doing that in 98, 2000. Not saying it's not true, because we've had ups and downs with Adam. Talk to him, didn't talk to him. When we didn't talk to him, his sister would go on stage and sing Denine's parts. So that's how it was. We were sort of out of the business for a little bit. So we didn't care. We weren't checking up. It could be possible. I don't know. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't know. I know that we recorded the song in '94.
Well, I know that Joe has re-recorded "I'll Be Loving You" for 2024, but previously, every time that they would do the shows, he would do the Collage records. He'll do "I'll Be Loving You." I know they would use his name, and sometimes they would use Collage. I couldn't find any documentation on that, but I know that the community had their opinion. Because they have an issue with the fact that it's Adam's vocals and he's singing on top of Adam's vocals, that he's perpetrating that he is Collage when he does the shows, and again that's an issue within itself when it comes to our genre. But what kind of resolution are you looking for when it comes to Denine being able to do "Can't We Try" and being able to do the "Then Came Yous" or whatever songs you worked on with Adam personally?
We are going to do "Can We Try" at every show. We're going to do "Then Came You" at every show. If there's a show we're on with Rockell, we definitely will not. We will not do "Can We Try." To me, she had the bigger record. She should do it. "Then Came You" we're going to do. And that's nothing against Joe. I have no problem with Joe. That's my record. That's her record. That's Adam's record. I offered to do it with Joe in Wildwood. He told me he couldn't. I know the reason why he couldn't. Sal called me, asked if Joe can let's make a resolution. We said no problem. Let him do the Collage record and the TV record in Wildwood. It was our crowd. We did 7 other songs. We crushed it. It wasn't a problem. Moving forward, we're still going to do a little clip of "I'll Be Loving You." And we're not going to change our show for anybody. But I will be respectful as long as they are respectful when we're on the same show. Doesn't happen a lot, don't get me wrong. But are you going to make somebody, a guy named Mike, do CPR's countdown?
No, absolutely not. Just Cheryl. But the one thing that I will say,
she's not saying she's CPR. She's not talking over you.
Yes, I get it. But what I want to say is that there is supposed to be a code of ethics when it comes to this genre of music, especially when it comes to remakes. And I have this conversation all the time. Big shout outs going out to Gennaro, who I speak about this with all the time as well. And that is that there should be a level of respect. I see that there have been remakes of Judy Torres songs remade, correct? And then Judy Torres is in the building. She's performing that night, but here comes the person that remade that Judy Torres record, and they're singing that record at the beginning of the show when she's booked. And so that is a high level of disrespect, right? That's a big no-no, right? Plus, you can't mess with the original, you know what I mean? And if the original is active, then it is the person who remade the record should be the person stepping down from performing that song. I know that there are different rules when it comes to Denine and Rockell. Rockell may have had the bigger hit with that record.
Absolutely.
But it was Denine's songs first. So, there is again something that has to be tackled on an individual basis and not put in a big ball in a bunch and then just treat it like everyone else treats this genre of music, all with one answer for everything.
Well, they're both not wrong. I mean, they're both not wrong. It was Denine's song first. Rockell's song second, made a big hit. So Denine has a gripe. Rockell has a gripe. We probably won't do shows with her. Hopefully one day we will. It'll be, patched up or it'll be cordial.
Well, that was my follow-up. You and Rockell, you guys collaborated together on 418. There was a record that was put out recently. What happened there? I thought there was an amicable, collaboration. She was supposed to come on my show and do an interview, all that good stuff. That never happened. She called out sick, I believe, that day. But what happened with the 418 connection?
You'd probably have to ask her. What I'm saying was, we did a show in Adelphia. We helped promote the show. Show was successful. The next day, I've never heard from them again. And that's fine. What I'm going to say is, even though we may not be on speaking terms, I know her a long time. I've picked up for her. She's been my friend. Worked on music together. I think she's talented. I think her songs are good. She can sing. I don't have anything negative to say. I really don't. Now, do I like what she's saying on her show about Denine, about other people, maybe about me? No. But I'm not going to stoop to that level. I'm in it for the music. I don't care what anybody else does. If you have a 418 in front of your name, that's all I care about. And I care about artistic because I love Willie. And I care about Kay and you. And there's people like that that are my friends from this madness.
Just for the purpose of anyone who's watching, did I rehearse anything with you beforehand?
I wish you would have. No,
I see you sweating a little bit. I spent 3 days gathering information because I just wanted some clarification for the community. I think that we bring these gripes to the forefront with the community, and we end up hurting the community. Tonight we should be celebrating the fact that Stevie B is going to be on MTV. The fact that Willie Valentine and family, Niaja and everyone are celebrating 35 years of Niaja's Now and Forever with One Touch, and tonight they're going to go live as well. And we tend to just brush aside great things that have happened in 2024 because we're bogged down with a lot of these feuds, right? And nobody gets to the point of the matter, and nobody wants to ask specific questions. It's like people ramble on incoherently for an hour and nothing gets resolved. So I would like to discuss a resolution, right? So your resolution is that you may not be doing shows with Rockell, and that Denine is going to have the songs from her past that you worked on her set when she's doing her shows at her different venues, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
You also stated that she would not be performing records like Tear Shed or Last Chance if the artist is booked that night.
Yes, and I think we're going to keep that the majority of our shows anyway. It's really not in our shows anymore. But there are some cities like Rochester where we're going Saturday, which Denine and Collage were huge, but we're not doing it. That was a big record on radio. And let me say one thing. As a DJ, when I was working underground clubs, Tear Shed was such a big record that when we were looking for one more cut on her album, I wanted to redo that as a homage to MKG. I didn't know who Emery was. I knew there was a female on the song, but I always saw MKG. And I spoke to him, and we did it. Last Chance was another song which I absolutely loved, and that's why we did that. When we found out Saray was performing, like at Frankie Cutlass's party, Denine didn't do Last Chance. So we're being respectful, and so will April and Niaja and Nelson and anybody on my label will always be respectful with that because that's what you're supposed to do. So again, the 3 songs that I was involved in, we're going to do it every show.
I think that the code of ethics, and you're again starting a trend, right? Because you're publicly stating these things, just like when you did the streaming thing and you were very forthcoming in how you do things. Now you're being forthcoming here on social media on how you're going to handle things going forward and how Denine's going to handle things going forward. And I think
any artist on 418, not just Denine.
Perfect. And I know because I've had conversations with many of the artists on 418. But the bottom line is it should be an all around code of ethics for the entire genre. That if there's a person that you remade a song from and they're on the bill, that you don't perform that record because it's kind of disrespectful. Not kind of, it is disrespectful. If someone recorded a and I keep saying a Judy Torres record and you're booked and that's the only song on your repertoire, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing this genre. Maybe you should do some original music, right? And so, you know, another thing is that people like to incentivize the people that follow them into getting into fuse with people. So they set these artists up. So a lot of people are looking for that easy come up, right? So they'll record a Judy Torres record poorly, and then they'll go and ask Judy Torres, hey, how do you feel about my record? Well, what is Judy Torres supposed to say? Is she supposed to say, don't sing my record, you did an awful job, whatever? Of course, she's going to bless you and going to keep it moving, because what happens with the social media world, the internet freestyle community, is if she says anything negative, immediately they're going to turn on the camera and be like, I remade this record in quote unquote homage to Judy Torres, and she said that I shouldn't have sang it, and she's hating on me. And then it just turns into something totally different, where this person now is catapulted into the forefront of our genre, and it was not earned, it was not merited, it was just, you know, a chase glitch, a freestyle chase glitch, you know, that they just tried to gaslight the person that originally sang it. And we have a lot of that going around right now in our community.
So I saw a funny quote today. It says, nowadays people don't defend what or who is right. They defend the person who they can benefit from. So
Absolutely.
I think that goes around a lot when it comes to freestyle. We don't see K and AB arguing, do we? And K helps AB. AB sang a song, different song. K sang a different song. There wouldn't be a problem with them. So there are people out there that can get along and are doing the right thing. So, and I'm going to say it again. Joe and Rockell, I know 35 years. I personally don't have a gripe with either one of them, especially Joe. Always liked Joe. Rachel's been up and down, but I know Rachel my whole life. I'm going to defend Denine to the end, because me and her with Adam came up on Metropolitan, and we were sort of the stepsisters. You know, there was the laissez-faires and the Aprils and the Susies and the Collages. So she didn't get what she deserved, respect. And I definitely didn't. People don't even know I produced some of them records. So yeah, do I have a little chip on my shoulder about this stuff? Absolutely. Don't come at anybody I love. Don't come out about anybody that's on my label, because I will defend until the end. But it doesn't make me hate the other people, because I don't. I don't hate the other people. I really don't.
And you know, there was a lot of people calling me today, and they were kind of scared of what I was going to say or how I was going to conduct myself. This is the way that we conduct ourselves all the time on my show. And we talk about the history of his genre, and we talk about the importance of knowing the history of his genre. And so when I come here, I ask direct questions. And, you know, like I told Gino, you know, he's the person that invited me to do this, but it doesn't mean that I was going to give him a free ride in this conversation.
That's why I wanted you, because I knew you would.
I needed to ask the tough questions, and I appreciate you allowing me to do so. And, you know, what I also want to say in closing is that freestyle in the 90s and the 80s, they did a lot of different things that now still reverberate in 2024. So things that were remade back then that people take ownership for, you know, they never thought that we're going to get caught, right? Because there was no internet, there was no, you know, social media the way that it is now. But now we have to be more careful. Now we have to be more thoughtful. We have to be mindful and demure. But we just have to really have conversations and keep the lines of communication open, and stop this situation where you try to strong arm, blackball, make somebody look crazy on social media. Because let me tell you, a lot of the people that come on social media to discuss how they feel, and they have a roster of songs in this genre, they have a reason for feeling that way, right? But there's always something that may have happened in the past that may have triggered them to be the way that they are now. So, you know, a lot of remakes were made in the 90s. Believe you me, I know Collage, Adam Morano made a ton. He can't go to Texas and do the Selena remake, though. It'll be the last day of his life, right? But and they really didn't like when he did that, but he did it anyway. He did things his way. He's one of the people that I've always wanted to interview because I've always wanted to hear what his mind worked. But unfortunately, he's not here, and hopefully in the future he'll trust me to do an interview with him, even if I have to travel to some recluse mountaintop or something. But we need to really tackle these issues on an individual basis, especially when it comes to remakes. My thoughts are if the song is a popular song and it's not a freestyle record, people have carte blanche on remaking those records. I mean, if it's against all odds, you may want to rethink it because I think there's been like 5 different remakes of that. If you're trying to remake The Promise, it's been remade 4 or 5 times. Pick a obscure record, pick a record like Gennaro and Vera, Drunk and I Miss You, right? Nobody would have ever thought of remaking that record and making it appropriate for our genre, but somebody did. So be creative in the remakes that you select, because I love remakes. Some of the best remakes in freestyle are part of my catalog of favorite songs of all time. Who can forget Intonation featuring Joey, Died in Your Arms Tonight? Who can forget? I talked about The Promise. There's a gentleman, Rolando Montalvo, who did an amazing record and a rendition of that record. And I talk about Jill Terrell's Love Song. And I talk about Denine's Last Chance. I loved that record. I never loved that record ever until I heard Denine sing her version of it.
Yep.
Right. We talk about Gennaro and Scars, another remake, and then he got together with Jenny Renee and they did their rendition, added stuff to it. These are the creative minds that we have. So keep those juices going, but also be mindful that you remaking a song from a freestyle artist can lead you into situations like this. We've seen it so many times in the past, and I'm not going to bring specific songs up because again, we're tackling this issue individually, and we're having the community witness it and what's going to happen going forward. And so the roles have been chosen. People are going to do what they said that they're going to do, and the intent is there, right? This is how we're going to handle moving forward. So anything that you would like to say in closing before we leave you as part of CPR's Clubhouse Live?
Well, one thing I did see was in 2008, there was a company called Essential Music Group that remastered and re-put out Can't We Try with Adam and Denine. So when you see the word remastered, that means it was mastered years before that. So, so I see people see that and go, well, maybe Rockell did it first. Well, you have to do your research.
Yes, I did find that not only the Essential Group put out that collage, compilation out, but they put out one in 2007, 2008. There was an international one, quote unquote, that they put out. ZYX did a collage one. There's many different iterations of the Collage Best of album because he was a smart man. He dipped his toe in many different pots of gold. You know what I mean? And so they wrote the checks, and he just like, here's this version, here's that version, and it is what it is. But now we as a community have to deal with the repercussions of what one man did, and that was that Adam decided to record the record with Rockell and also record the record with Denine. And so now here we are, 2024, and now we have this issue that we have now cleared up, and how things are going to be going forward.
And listen, I understand what Joe's saying, and there may be a truth in that. I understand what Rockell's saying. She had a big record with that. But I know for a fact that I'm right and we are right in what we're doing because I was there for each one of the songs. The only thing I wasn't there for is when he recorded it, the vocals were Rockell. It's pretty much the same music. So
yes,
I was there for the original music with Denine. So I don't care what anybody else does. I'm just saying what we're doing moving forward. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not talking about anybody. People have asked me, program directors, promoters, and I've told them the truth. I've never once said a bad word about Rockell. I just said, yes, we did it first. So I can understand her feeling that she was the one that brought it to life. I can understand Joe feeling that he's been doing Then Came You for 15 years. But that's my record for 35 years. I made it. So that's my gripe. And I'm not only picking up for 418 or Denine. This is really about me. And these are my records too. So that's all I want to say. I wish everybody the best of luck. I just know what we're going to do moving forward. And this is it. Done talking about the remakes, done talking about those 3 songs. And I wanted to say it on your show because I know you wouldn't be easy on me.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to do this. Coming up in about 10 minutes, you can see Stevie B on MTV, which is great. Also, 9 o'clock, you can check out on social media, Willie Valentine, The Artistic Family, Niaja, and a host of others. So we're going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, Gino Caporale, for doing this. Big shout outs going out to Denine. Big shout outs going out to Gennaro. Big shout outs going out to Frank. Frank, by the way, this is the background that I stole from you and I've been using for weeks. I thought it was a really cool picture. I'm not sure where the picture came from. I think you were on a date or something, but I used it. So thank you so much. And until next time at CPR saying goodbye. And remember, it's not who you love, it's how. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, buddy.